So, the reshaping of Hollywood will commence. At the very least, it's starting to happen. Warner Brothers is up for sale as an auction, basically. So, we've got this article, and then we've got this one. Warner Brothers Discovery is officially going out for auction. Netflix, Paramount, and Comcast are preparing bids, allegedly. Now, I've done a few videos on this topic overall. I find it fascinating. Warner Brothers, whatever you think of them, the sort of ebb and flow, they're a big player in Hollywood. Big player. So this will reshape the Hollywood landscape beyond belief. And who gets to purchase them, whoever it is, will, I guess, make or break the sort of Hollywood industry to a degree, you know, and whoever purchases them will maybe usher in a new era of Hollywood, or, well, usher in a new era of Hollywood prosperity, should I say, you know, sort of throwing away the nonsense that we've had to deal with for a while, or, yeah, it will usher in a nuclear winter of Hollywood, as it were. So let's take a look, shall we? This is interesting to me, the fact that they've now gone up for auction. So let's have a look at this one first. But Warner Brothers Discovery's sale process has been a complex one. That's very, very true. Paramount had emerged as the front runner. They've basically said, no, we're good. We're good now. We're backed off. I think they put in 2 offers, if I remember rightly. They put in 2 offers. Both of them were rebuffed. And even though the Trump administration was pro-Paramount buying, Skydance Paramount, buying Warner Brothers, that doesn't seem to have been successful for them overall. Now that's good or bad, who knows? You know, they will need, obviously, the approval of government institutions, so they're not a monopoly. Blah, 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 blah. They're basically backed off now. Doesn't mean that they won't ultimately be the ones to purchase it, though, because they might be. But basically, Netflix and Comcast have begun to enter the fray. And that sort of shook things up. And now, the Wall Street Journal, via the Wrap, says Warner Brothers Discovery is officially going out for auction. So Paramount, Netflix, and Comcast are preparing to submit a first round of non-binding bids for the company prior to a November 20 deadline. So this will really ramp up. We're going to see, I mean, it's a week. We're going to see a massive ramp up here. So as previously reported, Warner Brothers Discovery expects to reach a decision on its fate by mid to late December. So, I mean, it's just going to boom. It's going to happen real quick. We'll learn all about this and then it'll be done. And then we'll just sort of have to sit there and wait and see what happens to the industry. Because the industry's been on its knees for a long time. So this will be fascinating to watch and just see whether this is positive or negative. Netflix and Comcast are said to be primarily interested in Warner Brothers, which is surprising. You'd think that they would want the HBO side of stuff and like the new, I don't know. Oh no, actually, sorry, this is the way it's formatted. Netflix and Comcast are said to be primarily interested in Warner Brothers Discovery film and TV assets. I was going to say, if they were just interested in Warner Brothers, like, why aren't they interested in HBO? But yeah, my bad, sorry. The way this article is now formatted. But they're not bothered about the traditional television components, which I think is a big deal because it indicates that actually the key players in the industry moving forwards don't perceive traditional TV as the future. They're just not, they don't think it's the future. It's not going to be beneficial for them to own. Streaming is the future. And like on demand, YouTube, these kind of things. Streaming like that is the future. It's not to say that, you know, I don't know, the streaming wars itself. I'm a massive naysayer about the streaming wars. I don't mean the streaming like that is the future. The movie in theaters is still the future from that regard anyway. But anyway, that includes CNN, Discovery Channel, per the Wrap. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav recently had lunch with Comcast CEO Brian Roberts to, quote, explore a potential bid for the studio and streaming assets. Paramount, on the other hand, is said to be interested in Warner Brothers Discovery as a whole, which would be an issue for them to not become a monopoly at that point, I think. But the company's intention to submit a bid is somewhat surprising, given that in a recent earnings call, CEO David Ellison cast doubt on Paramount's interest in Warner Brothers because he basically said, nothing is concrete, we don't need stuff. So he said, quote, "It's important to know that there's no must-haves for us. We really look at this as buy versus build, and we absolutely have the ability to build to get to where we want to go. We believe we can achieve our goals with our creative content engines. We believe we can achieve our streaming goals and that we can drive enterprise efficiency and create value and long-term free cash flow generation all through building." Which is actually, it's the polar opposite of how Disney became the giant that they are now, with also the noose around their neck. Because they just kept buying stuff. Buy. They didn't build things. Previous to Bob Iger, they were building things, but then they just started buying stuff with Bob Iger. He was the great acquirer, right? He just kept buying stuff. So Netflix and Comcast acquiring only a portion of the company is plausible, as the separation is indeed being considered by Warner Brothers. So it's pretty major, to be honest. This is a huge deal. Early in 2025, Warner Brothers Discovery announced it's split into two entities, Discovery Global for the company's traditional TV assets. I think I did a report at the time saying they were getting ready for sale then. And Warner Brothers for its film, TV and streaming brands. Then in November, Warner Brothers Discovery was reported to be considering, among other options, selling itself in parts. This is actually something loads of people rumoured. I remember doing videos on it saying that they're getting Superman and DC ready as a concept to sell, to basically say we've got a established DC universe, here you go, buy us. And it's starting to look more and more difficult to disprove that, really. Does look like that was always the aim, just to get constituent parts of the business up and running and more appealing for a sale. So there you go. I mean, what else do you say? It's interesting. This will reshape the Hollywood industry massively. This article says that the sale deadline is forcing media giants into high-stakes showdown. So they've got a sale deadline, apparently. But this is where it's going to get into the bidding element. And I guess they're non-binding bids because, of course, they have to go through scrutiny and they can change and courts and blah, 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 blah. So there you go. It's a fascinating one. Be really interesting to see. It'll be really interesting to see who buys this. I personally think Skydance and Paramount is best suited for it. Skydance particularly. I don't necessarily think they're the best of the bunch. Doesn't mean that they're great overall, but they're the best of the bunch. Netflix, I don't want Netflix to own it. But they could. They've got the money. Netflix has a lot of cash. So there you go. What do you think? Let me know down below. Would love to hear your thoughts. Take care. Bye-bye now.